All right, everybody, welcome to another. Wow, it's been a minute. I mean, I feel like we have not spoken in a while. The Vamp has been running around like crazy. I swear I should leave town more often. My TA just was on fire. So I've been. I know you guys have been following me on Twitter, and if you guys have seen my calls, I am 7 for 7 right now on the drop again, bounce, drop again, bounce, drop again. I mean, called the top, called pretty much everything. So it's been a really good couple days. I have actually done extremely well on my trading. I've actually been just raking in the money on my trading. I have done, oh my God, I've made well over a Bitcoin in the last day, and that's just with my low leverage trades. You guys see I don't go too crazy. You know, I stay in that lower leverage area. And even with my low leverage trades, I've still made at least a Bitcoin, if not more. You know, it's been good. Things have been really, really good. My one Fox trade right now, I actually used 8 leverage on that. I did the full 0.65 on my trade there, and I did that in an 8 leverage. Let me see if I can grab this thing real quick. All right, let me snack this up. Give me 1 second. I can bring this over and dump it. Okay, so ready. Where's it at? Where's it at? Where's it at? Where's it at? Let me get over here. Okay, so there's my trade. This is up to date. So you can see I have this pretty good. This is pretty good right here. 33%. I leveraged the full, so I started this account at. So I tried to keep this account at 0.50. What I'll do is when I do trade this, close this trade out, I will scrape everything off of this except for 0.50. I don't like to keep a lot on any one account. So I just scrape it off. I'm always scraping, and especially in any leverage thing like this, you know, like for Binance, which is what my mainly trade alts on. I'll leave I leave money on Binance, and then that's pretty much where I keep things. Especially if you're going to hold, because you can't get trapped in an ugly leverage trade on Binance. I mean, you can get wrecked. Don't get me wrong. You can definitely get wrecked on Binance, but yeah. So that's kind of where we're at. So we are, you know, we have been calling for a possible bounce right here. We are super oversold on the Stoke. So our Stoke chart shows us that we are really deep. Let's see if we can go find that. Give me 1 second. Boy, I got a lot of charts up. Hoping my stupid computer doesn't crash today. So here's kind of our daily. So look, we're getting a little bit of a bounce right here. Now this can keep going, right? This has got some legs to keep going down. I still don't think we are at the bottom. I mean, I think we can zigzag and jig-jag and do whatever we got to do, squirrel around here for a second before we fall back down. So I wouldn't get too excited right now. We are deep. We're not as deep as we could go. One of the things I want you guys to know, when you are looking at like Stoke charts, RSI charts, MACD charts, that these, unlike price action charts, don't show the full picture. So they don't show the shadow of the continuation of the price action. So like here, this can just go all the way down, get really, you know, can all the way down here, just keep going, and then this can flip back around, right? So this can get super ugly, super deep. And then let's see, look at this one, got super, you know, a little bit deeper right there. So there's some real deep action. Let's see how far back we can go here. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, so there's some, look at these ones way back here. Those are super ugly. So, you know, you do have a little bit further to go. I mean, I am looking for a bounce. Now, the problem is when you do get down this low on the price action on the Stoke, what happens is you start to do what's called a skipping on the bottom. So I call it skipping on the bottom. So what happens is you get down here, and look, if you take a look, and I'll just peel this all back. Let me get this up. There we go. So you can see as this fell down, this bottomed. And once it bottomed, it just kind of kept skipping and skipping and skipping. And then it finally, look at this, and then skipped all the way down to the bottom there. Now we are at the bottom. This rarely rarely, like rarely does a V bottom like this. See this right here? Here's a V bottom. Now, the only thing that would give us a V bottom here possibly is some kind of ETF announcement and or another giant tether pump, right? So that's what we would be looking for, some kind of a V bottom. But look at it, this dropped, came all the way down, right? So you see, watch this fall. Here was, we came all the way down, tested our lower area of the Stoke chart here, bounced around, then finally found the bottom, right? So this to me tells me that we're just going to bounce in this area. We're going to skip along here, and we could skip along for a little while before we finally kind of figure out where we're going to go and kind of the next continuation pattern. And I do have that pulled up on one of my other charts. Let's start over here with my fib chart. Oh, that's our BB. Where is my fib chart? And no. Where are you? Fib chart. There it is. Okay, so here's my newest chart I have. This is kind of one of the newer charts. I now have my charts kind of labeled fib, MACD, trend line, whatnot. So if you guys remember, I had called this, I think in the members area. I don't know if I called this also in the public area. But I said, so look at this line right here. So what I've done is I've set up a chart with lines of resistance, right? And you can see that every time there's these touches and reactions. So I started all the way up here and I pulled this wick, and what I did is I found all my wicks going all the way down, right? All the way down, and then I did the same thing to this next point, there, to this wick right here, right, to here, and then this kind of and then came all the way down. Same thing, and you can do this multiple times and you can get a really good support and resistance zone with your trend lines, okay? So the trend lines I did, now I just pulled a brand new one. So I used the bottom of this wick, the bottom of this wick, the bottom of this wick, and I am looking for this to fall out and get trapped right here, right? This is kind of my target zone based on this very, very simple chart. I know it looks complicated. It's actually not, right? It's not that complicated. So you take your fib lines. What I've done is I've taken my fib lines top to bottom of every drop. I then kind of calculated where the drops fell, how far they fell on average. And then this also helps you find where the bounces happen. So if you look right here, I was able to call the top of this bounce based on the two previous falls, right? So you had this one right here, this double tap right here, right? And then, and then you had the single tap right here. Now, if we get down here, it is possible for us to come down and then we could get a bounce back up, right? Get a bounce right back up here and then possibly break this and then fall down. Now, things are really shaky right now. Things are really, really weak. And I've been telling everybody, I said, hey, listen, right now, I feel that you're safer off in a short position and or if you wanted to, and I told all the members, I said, just close your positions. If you guys feel right now you want to take your money and run, take your money and run, because you guys have made amazing trades, amazing gains all the way down, right? And if you're using any leverage whatsoever and you're shorting, you're shorting BTC or ETH, or I mean, we've got guys in ETH shorts from 290. Right, we've got people from just insane short targets that are just making a killing in the members area, and I told them, I said, listen, you can take profits here. Just take it. You could wait for the bounce. Now there's got to be some kind of a bounce in here somewhere, and I'm basing that off the Stoke chart right here, right? And I'm basing this off. This is going to come, and it can do a little hippity hoppity skippity bop, and then it'll just give us another leg down. So that's kind of what I think will happen. Now, the last time we did this, we fell out from here. We double tapped this line. We came all the way down and then dumped just a hardcore dump. And I bet if we go back over here and look at the Stoke chart, right? So, what do we got here? That's our MACD. Let's go back over to June 6th, June 5th, June 6th. So we're going to go over our June 5th, June 6th target area. I'll bring this up. Where's my vertical line? Let's find it, June. There you go. Okay, it doesn't look right. Right? Yep, that's right. June 5th. Okay, so take a look what happened here on your Stochastic chart, on your daily Stochastic chart. So you started way down here on the May 28th, June. Wow, this thing just marched up while the price just fell. That just doesn't look right. How am I missing this right here? Nope, there it is. Yeah, you get in there. That's it. So there's the dip right there, right? There's this little dip right here. And then this came up. So look at the MACD, I'm sorry, the Stoch was moving up. It then hit this peak right here, and then it just bounced down. So this is a bearish skip, right? So this would have been a bounce, but a bearish skip. So you see the skipping along. This would have been a bullish bounce, but it would have been still a bounce. And then it would have dropped back down, and then the bottom would have fell out. Now we're down here. We haven't even started one of these bounces, right? We haven't even done one of them. So you see all the fall here. And when we reach the bottom, this is where the bottom the first time was. Here's the bottom the first time. Here's the bottom the first time. Got a little bounce and then just continued down. Now I'm looking still for that bounce right there in order to give us the next it will give us let's say the next possible leg down. Whenever we get into the 6K region right here, my hopes at this point are just, I'm 50-50 that we fall through. 50-50, all right, just because of the manipulation. Okay, I mean, I myself have said I used to say, okay, this is going down. This is it. It's over, right? This is going down. This is it. This is over. And then I have learned, I think especially this time right here, and then but for sure this time, I had learned my lesson, and I had realized the amount of manipulation that goes on in the marketplace with the tether pumps. So once again, I just made a post, and I am waiting for the tether fairies to start pumping tether again, and as soon as they start pumping tether again, we'll all be able to figure out where we're going to bounce to. I'm just, like I said, I'm waiting for that tether pump to give us the next the fairy bounce, right, which is completely what it is. Really quick, I kind of want to jump over to ETH. My targets have been right on. Be careful in ETH, okay? So I would be watching out in ETH because this thing can bounce, right? You can get a bounce. Look, if you come back here, you're using your TD charts, you can see where your historic resistance and support was. It's right there. See the little red dotted lines right there? Right? So these little red dotted lines are your historic resistance and support areas. I would look to set a stop loss. This is if you want to get loosey-goosey. This is if you want to get tighter. On the tighter area here, I would target it a little above the 7 MA. So I put a little bit above the 7 moving average if this thing were to get some kind of a crazy bounce. One thing I really think is important for everybody to look at right now, and let me go find that chart. Where are you? Nope, 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 nope. All right, so we got to go find it. Just want to get the super important ones out of the way. There we go. Okay, so this chart right here has me a little bit worried right now. Okay, so we're looking at the shorts chart. Okay, and this is the short chart right here. Now, I am worried right now because looking at this chart, somebody's dumping. So I don't know if people are just taking profit, which this possibly could be. There's a lot of people thinking this is going to bounce and they're taking their profits. Now I've told in our chart, in our members chat, I said take profits, right? You can take your profits right now. You're going to totally be fine. You're going to make an absolute killing, right? So now look at the RSI right down here on the MACD. On the RSI on the short chart is ridiculously low for falling 1,000 points. I think everybody got caught with their hand in the cookie jar. Look at how far the shorts fell down. The shorts are way down here, 21K, 22K. The short RSI at just dirt low levels. Everybody got caught with their hand in the cookie jar. I think so many longs were open, and a lot of the longs just absolutely got destroyed. So I would be watching this. As this continues to drop, this looks like a lot of people are taking shorts now, taking profits. Now, I would be careful here, because if you look back here, right, this is the short squeeze. Sorry. If you look back over here, this massive drop, look at the pattern, up, over, up, over, up, right? And then a huge drop. Do you know when this was? Anybody know when this was, right? I'm sure you do by knowing this, looking at this chart right here, right? This was the February fall, right? So this was the February fall where the sky fell, right? This is exactly where the sky fell, and this is what happened right here. So this is it right here. I'll line that up best I can. So this, people were taking their profits on the short, and the price kept falling, and they're like, no way, this can keep falling. And they took profit, and it just kept falling, and it just kept falling, and it just kept falling. I mean, this thing just fell right out of the sky and just kept falling, and people kept taking profits. I think that is the same thing as possibly going to happen here. I think we still have a little ways to go down here, right? I still think we've got a little distance to go before we find a bottom. And then I base that off of the fib chart, right? We're going to bounce around and zigzag around here, but I'm still looking. So if you look at this chart, right, this chart paints a really, really, really ugly picture here, okay? So I'm going to do this. Oh, I don't want that, I want this. All right, pull this off here. Okay, so these are your historic support lines right here. These are your your historic support targets. Okay, right there. So there it is. This is where you will be looking to bounce for this to catch, right? And you could catch a really nice bounce here. You could catch a really nice bounce here, catch a really nice bounce here. I mean, these are some real good bounces. If you get down here, you'd be looking for this thing to rally back up and, get a really good bounce back up here before this fell down one more time, right? So you'd be looking for this to follow through with the path in this channel like it has previously. From here to here, from here to here, right? This is going to come down from here, and then it'll get caught in here, and it'll bounce. And I'm expecting to see a good, strong bounce at one of these two areas. That bounce will then go back up, and everybody will get all moondoggy on us, especially if we bounce in this range right here. Especially if we bounce in this range. Now, bullish devil's advocate, you apply this line right here, right? So this is your line right here. So you've got the bottom, and there you go that way. And you've now got another support area, right? Which is right here, which on the deep side is 59. Now, if this comes down and bounces here off of this line right here, this becomes kind of bullish, right? This becomes bullish. If we bounce off this line and can make a higher high, this would be a bullish bounce off this line. So what we're going to do is we're going to change this line. We're going to make this line a green line, because if it bounces off this line right here, this would be a higher low. And if it got above this area, you would be looking to say, and you can legitimately start to say, hey, you know what, this is good. So we're going to call this green line is the right. So this green line is the bull bounce line, and we're going to switch this over to green. Okay. Okay, but if it bounces here, right, we're going to put an asterisk. And Vamp looks on his keyboard, has a moment of, oh, there it is. All right. Must break 74.22. 74.22. Okay, so there we go. All right, so there you have it right there. So this is your bullish bear, this is your bullish bounce line. And you can, if you're a bull, start doing a little happy dance. If this bounces off of this line like it has previously, you could definitely do a little happy dance, right? Now let's take a look at one more possible. All right, we're gonna put this in here. There you go. Okay, so what you'd look, we'd have to see bounce down, right? Bounce down, catch again, right? Bounce down, came up, caught again, and then it took off. So we look down, up, but it would never break this lower line. Breaking this lower line, right, is extremely extremely bearish, right? Breaking. Okay, so we're going to come over here. Oh. So this would be your confirmation of a bearish continuation. And we will test this line, right? This line is going to get tested. I mean, all you're looking at here is you're looking at simple support. Now, if I came down, could I pull this? Nope. Let's see if I could line this up. Well, you know, you can do that. You know, there you go. So tap, 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 tap. So came down right on that support zone. Now, when I used this as my support line previously, I used this as this was a historic line, and I'll show you that on a different chart, right? So but it's this bottom green line that needs to get broken right here. And this is it. And I know, God, I know, guys, I know my charts are difficult sometimes to read, but they're actually, you know, that's what makes them accurate, I guess. Sorry. All right, so let's do that. Okay. All right. Next chart. Okay, so let's go over it. Let's take a look at the bubble chart, right? So the bubble chart is getting deep. All right, so we're going really, really deep on the bubble chart. We're now moving. Let me scoot this thing back. So we are moving into an area right now that is, you know, this is where all the bounces are. So we're getting deep right here with our, we're getting really deep. Let me see if I grab this thing. Come here. There we go. Okay, so we're getting real deep right here, like we're coming through. Now, a bounce off of these white areas, right? Getting this deep is actually, it starts to get bullish, right? So you start to get bullish down here with these bounces, right? So we can go up here and we can take a look kind of what we've done. And then, guess what? And then, of course, this is after the 6th. And you guys know what happens after the 6th. And then most of our big, massive moves happen between the 9th and the 12th. So that's another thing we got to be watching out for, is another big move between the 9th and the 12th. So we just fell off fell out of the sky. There's the J hook that we talked about previously. I'm going to delete this, right? Going to delete this, going to delete this. This was all correct. So the J hook, we did the J hook and then fell out of the sky. Okay. It stays there. So that was correct. Now we're down at the bottom here. So we're going to go ahead and start to take a look at where the correlations occur when the price drops this low, right? There's a bounce. Okay, so here was a bounce. So here was a so if we bounce here, right off this purple line, you see this is just going up is just bearish. This whole move up is bearish. This move up is bearish. If we bounce right here, if our MACD bounces, this is super bearish. Okay, if our MACD spins, this thing just goes absolutely insanely bearish here. Let's go up a little bit higher. Bounce and then mega dump. Bounce and then dump. Yeah, so these are all, so we have really, man, looking at this is just super bad. Super bad. And let me show you what a good example of bearish divergence is, okay? This is it's a great example of resetting indicators. So here you had a climb up, right? That pretty much correlated with this move. topped out almost exactly with these previous peaks, right? This previous peak right here, these were almost dead on. Okay, once this did fall out, this fall was pretty comparable. This was, you know, in line. So if you look from here to here and you were to take and measure this, and then you were to take and measure this, this fall from here to here would have been actually bullish, a little bit bullish, because you would have gone, actually it would have been, yeah, a little bit bullish, because the hopes were you would have fallen super low here, looking at the price action versus the deep fall of the MACD. And you would hope that because this fall was so far, if you didn't see what had happened next, you would say, wow, this is going to be a super bullish action here, or reaction, and this thing is just going to go to the moon and right after this. But what happened was, look at how far the MACD ran up. It ran up practically 80% of the total of the fall. But we never even ran, we ran up right a little bit below, over the 50% line. So we went a little over the 50. We didn't quite get to the 618. So we only retraced less than 60% of the total of the initial drop. So this is bearish divergence. You then had this second fall out. Now, our retracement at this point is almost at 80%. So if we look at our fib chart, if we go back over to our fib chart shows us we've had 78.6. We've broken that. So we're almost at 80. So we've had an 80% retracement on that. We've had an 80% retracement, and we've had an equal amount of retracement of the price, right? So this did correlate. This fall is it's a little less than 80%, but this is at least, we're over 80% of the price action of the fall. So this move up was an actual bearish move. This was bearish divergence moving up because the price action did not correlate. This price action, this moved up 80%. The price should have moved up to 80%. You understand what I'm trying to say? So because the MACD moved up and the price action moved up less, this was bearish. Now the fall here is really where the concern is. The fall is, we're looking to see how deep. Is this going to continue, or does this spin right here? If this does turn right here, right, and I do feel we can get some possible turn in the near future here. The issue, one of the things you need to look at is look at how far separated these two lines are, right? When you're in this plummet and you're heading straight down, right? When you're headed straight down like this, when these lines are vertical, right? The more vertical these lines are, the more dangerous it is. You want to look for this turn. You see this little turn like this? You want to start to look for these turns to happen, like this little turn right here. You're looking for these to start occurring because you know that you're finding support, and the more of these little turns you get, it kind of finally just gives up, right? Bearish exhaustion. Looking at this, you do have a ways to go if you're going to fall down. Now, looking back historically, this was record. This is like a record low. Okay, if we put in a second record low, this would put us, based on the percentage of the fall, at a lower low, and that's where you would come in with your fib chart right here, right? And this would be your fib chart. And this is where you'd be looking at targets with your Fibonacci chart and with your trend lines to correlate with the MACD right here, right? And that's kind of where my targets are also. This validates my lower targets here, right? This validates a bounce here. That tick, these ticks, tick, all these, this validates a good spot for a bounce. And we've been calling, I think I've been calling for 6150. How long have I been calling 6150? Right, I called 6150 for quite a while, right? This looks like it came down to 6120, 6130, all right? But, I mean, I've been calling 6150 for a minute, and there it is. So we got there, we got a bounce, but I'm skeptical to how high this bounce would go. Now, if this does bounce, I would be looking at a target to come back up here and test this line again, and I would look for this to get rejected once again. Okay, this is why our stop losses are down low. You know, we're pretty much, I mean, my stop loss really conservatively, your stop loss, you can be down here 62.85. I show that in another chart. But if you want to get loosey-goosey with your stop loss, I'll show you where to set that a little bit higher. And that's pretty easy to do, right? So kind of what we're looking for right now is a correlation of the trend lines, the Fibonacci, and the MACD, and they're all playing out really well. They're all, if you look and you see how far this could drop, then you go over and you see what your targets are. These targets line up pretty well, right? If and when this turns around, because this will, when this reverses, you're going to be looking for a reversal pattern that's going to be bearish. Right? You're going to be bearish in your reversal, because if this turns around right here, this would be the worst possible place to turn around right here, because the last 3 times it turned around right here, just nosedive to the basement right here. Look, 1, 2, right? Both of these just absolute nosedives to the basement right here. And let's go find the third one. I don't think we want to look at the third one. So here's the third. Oh, this is a super deep one, right? This is a super deep one right here. But, yeah, so 1, 2, 3. There's 3. This was this one, bullish. This one, bearish. So bear, bear, bear. Bearish, bearish. So going this deep was bearish, okay? And if you pull your chart back up, right, with this deep, deep fall down here, right? This was a purple line. So this was a bounce only. So the bubble chart called a bounce. And that's exactly what happened. This was only a dead cat bounce. Now, it was a substantial dead cat bounce, but in reality, this was only a dead cat bounce. That's all it was. So when you have a bounce signal, that signal means that you will have a lower low. Okay, so you should get a lower low out of this. And we're not that far away from getting a lower low. We're really not. Okay, we're really not. So once again, we are in a very challenging place to trade, because I wouldn't be looking to open any long trades at all unless this lower line held. If this lower line holds substantially, and we start to get a serious retrace off of this line where we can measure it, where we can just come down here very simply. We take our MACD, our fib, grab our fib, we pull it down, we put it right on the bottom of this line where we think we possibly could fall. Right? Let's say we fell out right now and tap this line. 59.74 would be our target. Okay, that would be our target for an immediate fall to this line right here. Then we would be looking, we would have to retrace back greater than, you'd be looking for a bounce greater than 68.68. because breaking the 5-0 would be a pretty substantial bullish bounce, right? Breaking the 5-0 would be a bullish bounce. Coming down here, tapping this line, and then bouncing would be bullish in the first place. What I'd like to see is this come all the way down and tap either this line right here, right? So if we came down and tapped this line right here at 57.52, then we would be looking for a retracement back up to 65 or even the 236, the 382. And usually on these bounces, remember, we have another chart we showed you guys, and it traces back all the bounces and how high they bounce. And this one right here, we would be looking probably for the 382 as the highest, so 6,400. So you'd be looking for a bounce of 6,400. So you would have, let's see, we can draw this out for everybody. So if this comes here, this then becomes bullish. So we do a bullish green line there. All right, we're going to turn this one red. Okay, and then if this goes through, and then we expect a little bit of a bounce here, right? I mean, we can just raise that up a little bit. If we do expect this to come down and challenge this trend line, this first trend line right here, okay, this first trend line, then we would be looking to set our bounce either the 236, I think is probably the 236 is where I would be looking. If not, this could possibly go up to the 382. And then you'd get your continuation pattern. That will come down to there. Right? So there's your bullish and bearish scenarios. Both of them, though, now you've tapped the first line right here. Both of them, though, entail a bounce. So there will be a bounce. It's just how strong will that bounce be. And at this point, I think you'll get your bounce here. Now, historically, one of the things I do is I go through, and you guys can build your own little MACD, your own little fib chart, and I build charts that show all the bounces, and you can see where all of the historic bounces have been in the past, and how far and how high they bounce. And you'll see there's a really good correlation. I'm going to remove this. And there's a really good correlation between the most of the bounces on bearish dumps between the 236 and the 382. So this is usually how high these bounce to. Okay. So there we go. And yeah. There's got to be a bounce. There will be some kind of a bounce, no matter what. Even if we drop down to here, we're still gonna bounce. We'll get a 236 bounce because man, guys, I don't know. I expect the tether fairy to show up anytime now. And once the tether fairy, now this is TA without the tether fairies involved. Once the tether fairies get involved, all of your charts go straight out the window. Okay, so they go straight out the window. Let's come on over here. We'll take a look at our Ichi and our Stochastic chart. Here's our 12-hour Ichi chart. Came down right into our bear target, right? So this is perfect. And I'm gonna save this. Okay, 61. Okay, so this was a perfect, this was great. Let's look at what the next options are on our Ichi chart. There's your topside resistance is still there. Historical resistance now turned, historical support now turned resistance, right? So here's this is a place where you'd be wanting to set up your stop loss. Right there. There's your look. So there's your look. There you go. So look, there's your support right here, right? So that would be your bearish target too, right? There's your bearish target too. And there it is. Okay. Now take a look at your Stoke. Your Stoke came down, bounced off, trying to bounce up one more time before it bounces down. You can see this is kind of flagging down. This is in a descending triangle pattern, so you're definitely in a descending triangle. If you look at it a different way, you could also look at this way as possibly a symmetrical wedge, symmetrical triangle-ish. This is trying to break down one more time to give you another little poke down. This is just a matter of time. Here's your skipping, right? And this is let's just watch this thing as this just kind of skips along the bottom right here. Now you've got some resistance above you. There's your resistance. If this does really give you a good bounce, I just see this skipping around right now. You've got a lot of resistance right above you. There's your resistance. There's your resistance. So you're down low. You're still not at the depths, of the deeper depths, and you still got room to just kind of pop around. I don't see this without the tether fairies doing anything crazy. The second somebody sees the tether fairies appear, please let me know. Okay, I'd like to know when the tether fairies show up. Let me plop this over here. What about a bounce from here? Yeah, we are expecting a bounce from here. That's why we've got our stop losses set. So we do have our stop losses set. They're already in place. So we are expecting to see a little bit of a bounce here. Once again, the shorts chart, this is dangerous. Shorts chart is extremely dangerous. What's up, Chone? Chone's killing me. Chonis left me. He's cheating on me with Cheds. I stole him away. I was the side piece. And then Ched stole him back. Listen. I told both of them I have an open bar and strippers. Oh, shoot. Oh, Chone. Okay, hold on. Hey, hold on a second. All right, say something. Oh, crap. Hold on a second. Hold on, I got to shut down OBS. Hold on. Oh, I hope this doesn't. Stupid thing.